Few materials have carried the weight of wealth and power quite like gold and diamonds. They are not only symbols of prestige, but also tangible legacies that families preserve for generations. These 2 gold plates, for instance, were passed down to the guest from his grandparents.
They were given to my grandparents by Edwin Spidell, who was a jeweler in Providence. My grandfather was a surgeon, and I assume that my grandfather must have operated on one of the Spidells, but I don't actually know the details of that. But they were then lifelong friends. The plates were given to them over a number of years.
The larger plate bears a hand-engraved inscription, presented to him in 1959, an enduring reminder of professional achievement and esteem. The smaller plate, marked 14 carat, was tested and confirmed by the appraiser to be solid 14 carat gold. Together, the plates are impressive not just for their symbolism, but for their sheer weight. The smaller plate comes in at 400 pennyweights, equal to 20 ounces of gold, while the larger tips the scale at 600 pennyweights, or 32 ounces. In today's market, the intrinsic value of the gold alone makes them extraordinary, but their provenance and quality raise them to another level. At auction, these plates would be worth.
You're looking just in gold, $40,000.
Accompanying the plates is a second family treasure, jewelry passed down from the guest's great-grandparents.
And he was a brewer in Munich and owned one of the big Munich breweries. Then it was passed to my aunt. I know that my aunt actually went back to Germany in the late 1930s, even being Jewish, and smuggled out a lot of jewelry. I thought that this was some of that jewelry, but of course I don't know.
2 pieces stand out, a pair of earrings and a ring, both dating to the early 20th century. The ring, adorned with 2 dazzling old European-cut diamonds, weighing just under 3 carats each, is set within a finely crafted yellow gold and platinum. Rings of this caliber are in strong demand today, making it an especially valuable heirloom. Its insurance value would be.
It's probably closer to $60,000 or $70,000.
The earrings, created around 1925, feature stones of slightly lower quality than the ring, though individual diamonds weigh up to 3 carats each. Even so, the design and size of the stones make it a highly collectible piece. At auction, it would command a price of.
The earrings at auction, $15,000 to $20,000, but those would be $40,000 in a retail setting.
Wow.
There's a lot on the table here. Dare I say, very dishy.
Few artists blurred the line between fine art and everyday imagery quite like Andy Warhol. Even in works as whimsical as a pig or a turtle, his unmistakable style radiates. Warhol, American artist, filmmaker, and cultural icon, was the defining figure of the pop art movement.
Warhol was fascinated with everyday objects. He was fascinated with celebrity. These prints are great, not only in terms of the images, but in terms of the condition.
He broke down barriers between commercial graphics and fine art, elevating consumer products, celebrities, and simple forms into some of the most recognizable images of the 20th century. The works brought in today by the guest were created by Warhol and purchased from a friend in the mid-1980s. They are original screen prints, both marked by his bold use of color and design. The first, titled Fiesta Pig, 1979, captures a stylized pig, playful yet commanding, in a composition that reflects Warhol's ability to make the ordinary extraordinary.
Fiesta Pig was a print that shows basically a very amusing print, I think. A pig in the aftermath of a party.
Warhol's works remain in high demand. If this print came to auction, it would be valued at.
Fiesta Pig would probably be offered at around $8,000 to $12,000.
The second, Turtle, 1985, strips the animal to minimalist outlines, offset by vibrant tones that emphasize contour and form.
The turtle was completed 2 years subsequent to his having done a series called Endangered Species, and it was based upon a photograph, and it coincided with a film, which was a sort of romantic comedy which centered around sea turtles in the London Zoo.
This later work shows Warhol's enduring commitment to distilling imagery into its most iconic essence. Signed by the artist and preserved in excellent condition, the turtle print alone could command an auction price of.
Would be in at $30,000 to $50,000.
Okay, great. It's exciting.
Few artifacts capture the spirit of courage and sacrifice quite like this A2 flight jacket, once worn by the guest's father, a member of the legendary 507th Parachute Infantry Regiment.
From what I know, he was in the military just before the war broke out. I see a couple pictures of him wearing the jacket. He was at Normandy and he was at Ardennes, and he said he never was so cold in his life when he was in Ardennes in December of '44.
Do you know when those photos were taken?
Well, the back of them, one says October of '45 and one says December 7th of '45.
The 507th PIR earned distinction during some of World War II's most pivotal moments. From jumping behind enemy lines on D-Day in support of Operation Neptune to their heroic actions in the Battle of the Bulge, these paratroopers embodied bravery under fire.
The 507th was an outfit that saw a lot of action. When you're thinking about World War II collectibles, obviously there are people who collect just a little bit of everything because they want to tell the whole story, and then there are people who collect very specific things, and one of the sub-areas that is the most likely to get a big following is airborne. It just evokes the unit camaraderie in collectors today that it did for these guys at the time. It's definitely something to be admired.
The A2 leather jacket itself, standardized in 1931, became one of the most iconic garments of the war. Originally issued to the US Army Air Corps aviators, its rugged practicality and bold style made it highly prized, even among paratroopers far from the skies. This particular jacket, crafted from steer hide with a cotton lining, has stood the test of time. It features a front zipper closure, knit cuffs and waistband, and 2 snap flap pockets. On the front right side, the 507th Unit insignia proudly marks its connection to one of the Army's most storied regiments.
It was designed by 2 sergeants within the unit, but it represents a Black Widow spider. If you see here, he's got the hourglass symbol, he's carrying down the bomb and the lightning bolt, and I like the way that you phrase it. He's doing a lot of things at once, which I'm sure these guys were doing as well. More than likely, he got this in England.
Inside, a label confirms it was made by the Aero Leather Clothing Company of Beacon, New York.
The contract number tells us that it was made in 1942. In fact, this is, I believe, one of the last contracts that Aero had, if not the last. We have his name on the front above the patch. We also have his name inked in the liner with his service number.
More than a piece of clothing, the A2 symbolizes courage, individuality, and the personal identity of those who wore it into battle. Among collectors of World War II memorabilia, pieces with this level of provenance are rare, and this jacket, rich in history and personal significance, is estimated to be worth.
This jacket, as it sets, would have a retail value of between $3,500 and $4,000.
That's nice. I'm more proud of the service that he did. So that's, but thank you for that.
At first glance, this small bronze figure seems unassuming, but a closer look reveals layers of story, symbolism, and devotion.
I'm a junker, and I found this at an auction, and I bought it. Probably 98, 97.
You paid how much for it?
About $90.
One of the first things that one does is identify the material. It's bronze.
It depicts Shi Mu, the Queen Mother of the West, a central figure in Taoist mythology revered for immortality, longevity, and spiritual authority. For centuries, she inspired artists and devotees alike, appearing in paintings, ceramics, and bronze castings. This particular figure dates to the 16th to 17th century, a period when Ming Dynasty artisans elevated bronze work with refined casting techniques and intricate ornamentation. Seated gracefully, Shi Mu holds a tablet in the traditional Hu form, a symbol of authority and ritual significance.
So if you were going back to China, and this is Chinese.
It is Chinese. Okay.
And you were trying to have a petition to a regional authority,
Okay.
or even to the emperor, you would go with a tablet on which would be written issues that were of concern to you that you wanted to petition that authority with.
Originally, this figure would have likely occupied a Taoist temple or private altar, serving as both a spiritual object and a work of art. Traces of gilding remain on the back, softly worn by the passage of time, lending a quiet sense of history.
This does rub off. You would have people who were devotees who would come
And touch her.
touch it.
Oh, okay.
touch the figure. What happens over a period of hundreds of years is that gold, which is very, very thin.
Beneath the figure, some wax added later does not detract from its authenticity or value. Bronze figures of this kind are treasured not only for their spiritual resonance, but also as exemplary Ming metalwork, showcasing the dynasty's sophisticated artistry and attention to iconographic detail. Given its age, craftsmanship, and historical significance, this Ming Dynasty bronze figure would command an auction estimate of,
I think it's more likely $4,000 to $6,000 at auction.
Oh, really? Oh.
It's amazing.
Early maps are more than simple geographic records. They shape how new lands are imagined and understood. This particular piece is an early map of the Maryland colony, created in 1671, and it once belonged to the grandfather of the guest.
I brought a map that my grandfather bought some time ago, and I don't know much about it, to tell you the truth. He collected maps, so we have about 6 or 7 old maps of the Chesapeake Bay. This was the oldest one, and that's why I brought it in.
It reflects not only the artistry of cartography, but also the ambitions of colonial expansion. The map is the work of the famous cartographers John Ogilvy and Arnoldus Montanus, whose Buck America, being an accurate depiction of the New World, offered detailed accounts of life in the colonies. Within this map, one sees both artistry and symbolism, including an illustration of the Calvert seal and a dedication to Lord Baltimore, Cecil Calvert. Cecil Calvert, the second Baron Baltimore, was the first proprietor of the province of Maryland and played a pivotal role in establishing a haven for English Catholics in the Americas. It is only fitting that his name and legacy are highlighted so prominently in this work. The originality of the map is evident in its every detail, from the fine engraving to the thoughtful inscriptions.
We know it's a genuine map because it has a nice centerfold down the middle and a nice plate mark around it, and it's on the right paper for the time. It has quite nice margins, and the paper tone is nice, if a little bit toned.
Perhaps most curious of all, the map places west at the top, a fascinating reflection of the cartographic conventions of its time. At auction, this extraordinary map will bring an appropriate price of.
At retail, this map would go for about $6,500.
Wow.
On display is a captivating watercolor and ink sampler, a delightful example of artistic expression. This exquisite piece was presented as a gift to our guest by her father. It has an impressively rich family history, dating back to the year 1812. This charming piece was made by our guest's great-great-great-grandmother, who was only 8 years old at the time. Taking into account the creator's early age at the time, this piece is a remarkable demonstration of her innate talent and skill. At its heart, this beautiful piece radiates joy and innocence, captivating all who behold it. The artwork features a painting and a poem cleverly titled The Little Plunderer that playfully addresses bird theft. In astonishingly good condition, this exceptional piece would have an auction value of
$3,000 to $5,000. That much more. I can't do the math in my head.
With its intricate design and skillful weaving, this basket showcases the timeless allure of Native American art. Our guests stumbled upon this treasure at an antique store in San Francisco. The stunning basket has its roots in the cultural heritage of the Yokut tribe, a Native American tribe that inhabited the San Joaquin Valley in California. This incredible piece is carefully crafted in the iconic form of a Yokut bottleneck basket.
And it is a lovely bottleneck, a nice flat top with a nice neck. This is called the shoulder right here.
It is adorned with an intricate diamondback rattlesnake pattern, expertly woven with precision and care. While rattlesnakes were once the intended occupants, this Circa 1900 basket was created for the growing tourist market.
During that time, they were making baskets like this for the tourists, and the tourists loved the little figures on them.
Oh, okay.
However, there are some condition issues, notably along the rims of this piece. Despite minor flaws, this exceptional piece remains in good overall condition, and its value at auction is estimated at
$24,500.
No, I did not envision that it had gone that much more. I can't do the math in my head.
Today, we showcase 2 etchings that have been preserved from a bygone era, allowing us to appreciate the artistic achievements of the past. These timeless works of art were passed down to our guest from his mother, who acquired them in 1935.
Dutch. He was living in Haarlem in the Netherlands and acquired them in between the wars for pennies, which was still probably a difficult time to buy art.
This remarkable pair of engravings is the work of legendary artist Peter Bruegel, who was also known as Peter Bruegel the Elder. He was a Flemish painter and printmaker who played a significant role in the Dutch and Flemish Renaissance.
He was a famous artist in his day, and he would have been hired by a Dutch publisher to produce drawings, which were then engraved by somebody who worked for the publishing firm.
These engravings were renowned as the finest satirical works in Europe, as evident from the witty captions described below the images. The fat chicken illustration offers a satirical look at the excess of food and drink, showcasing a chaotic scene of gluttony and revelry. In stark contrast, the thin chicken illustration depicts a scene of scarcity and desperation, with fingers scavenging for food and clinging to meager resources.
The peasant kicking one of the fat people out the door. You have the emaciated dog down here. What do you think they're worth?
The exceptional state of preservation and rarity of these pieces make them a true treasure, giving them a collective auction value of
$20,000 to $30,000.
On display is a breathtakingly beautiful painting, a true gem that showcases the artist's mastery of color, composition, and technique. This masterpiece has been in our guest's collection for over 2 decades, after being carefully selected at an estate sale art auction. This painting is the work of the renowned artist Alfred Jacob Miller. He was known for his paintings of trappers and Native Americans in the fur trade of the western United States.
A lot of his pieces were commissioned by people, so they really didn't come out onto the market until after his death.
This artwork is a testament to the beauty and grace of Native American culture, as a young woman stands by a stream, her spirit as free and untamed as the natural world around her. Its soothing beauty has a profound impact, calming the senses and captivating the heart with its serene and peaceful presence. The artist's renown and the timeless allure of the lost American West landscape have made this piece a highly coveted and valuable treasure. Considering its impeccable state of preservation and extreme rarity, this masterpiece is expected to fetch an impressive auction estimate of
about $60,000 to $80,000. No! Yeah! Can I put this in my IRA account?
The first mistake after taking a look at this beautiful instrument is thinking it's a violin. This item is called a viola, and it belongs to the violin family, but it's significantly bigger. The viola was made by musical instrument maker Treffel Gervais. The viola represents one of the many instruments made in 1890.
And he was born in Canada. I looked him up, 1863.
Yes, sir.
He then worked in Boston for 3 major violin makers or violin houses.
Violas make one of the most distinct and warm timbres in the violin family. It's made from maple wood, and a viola made by Treffel Gervais is quite rare. The viola is also oiled with varnish to ensure it shines and is as physically appealing as its music. At auction, this beautiful and rare viola would retail at the price of
$15,000. Very nice.
Our focus turns to a remarkably gigantic piece of furniture. This guest purchased this mahogany chair from an antique shop. It is a prop made for filming a version of the Alice in Wonderland films. Alice in Wonderland, inspired by the surreal environment that Alice navigates, where normal rules of scale and proportions are often disregarded. The appraiser praised the chair, describing it as fit for a giant, with dimensions measuring 30.1 by 40.1 inches. Its Chippendale-inspired design clearly identifies its origin as originating from Britain, with distinctive craftsmanship synonymous with British furniture tradition. The exact connection to the movie remains uncertain, as no production details have been identified. With its intriguing backstory and well-preserved state, this piece has an estimated worth of
£2,000 and £3,000 for it. Is that all right?
That is very good news.
Is that good?
This unique vintage glass was a surprising find at a local estate sale. The guest purchased the glass for a modest amount. Its design is both whimsical and stylish, embodying the mid-century modern aesthetic. Likely produced in the 1950s or 60s, this glass was made in a period known for bold and creative eyewear designs. Eyewear design trends of the 1950s. The glasses are in fabulous condition and have a unique charm. Such pieces can often be found in vintage boutiques or online auctions. In such places, the glasses fetch a higher price than what was originally paid. What do you think this glass's value, combined with its condition and design, would be worth?
$20 or $25. That's pretty good.
This collection holds significant historical value and personal memories. The guest's grandfather was the first park employee Walt Disney hired for Disneyland, with employee number 001. Disney was an American animator, film producer, voice actor, and a pioneer of the American animation industry, Walt Disney. Before the guest's grandfather became Disneyland's chief engineer, he built train engines with fellow machinists, including the first Disneyland trains, Disneyland Train. Holding Walt Disney in high regard, the guest's grandfather's dedication and love for his work were apparent. Among the items preserved are the grandfather's payslip and badges, all reflecting the era's charm.
Have badges, he wore the workman's cap.
The historical significance and pristine condition of these relics make them highly valuable. A single badge from this collection at an auction could fetch
$2,000 to $3,000.
Given the rarity and excellent condition of the items, their total estimated value would be
$4,000 to $5,000.
Right.
The guest's Aunt Lucy was born in Fredonia, New York, and her father was a surgeon in the Civil War. After the war, she became a teacher and went to Hampton Institute in Virginia, where she taught Booker T. Washington around 1872 to 1875. The two formed a lifelong friendship, and Aunt Lucy maintained a close relationship with Booker T. Washington until he died in 1915. Booker T. Washington was a prominent African-American leader and one of the last individuals born into slavery. He published his autobiography, Up from Slavery, in 1901, which became a classic in African-American literature. Aunt Lucy and Booker T. Washington's friendship was extraordinary, and they exchanged letters and gifts. In a collection, a letter in 1897 to Aunt Lucy by Booker T. suggested that he was selected as the first leader of the Tuskegee Normal and Industrial Institute. Then there was an invitation for a commemoration of the institute. The collection also had the first edition of Booker T. Washington's book, which was signed for Aunt Lucy. The appraiser valued the collection of items brought by the guest at
$6,000 to $8,000 for the collection.
Nice. Yeah, wow. That's amazing.
In the hands that uncovered King Tutankhamun's tomb, we also find the delicate brushstrokes of Howard Carter. Carter was a British archaeologist and Egyptologist who discovered an intact tomb in 1922 of the 18th dynasty, Pharaoh Tutankhamun. These paintings were inherited by the guest from her father's family 20 years ago.
My grandfather's first cousin, and when her house was disposed of, they came to me.
Bearing the maker's signature at the bottom right corner, the piece was done with watercolors and is dated 1904. Depicted in the paintings are figures of Tutankhamun as they appear on the tomb walls. While some of the paintings might look damaged, they are in fact accurate representations of what the artist saw on the tomb walls. Artworks by Carter are very popular, and these pieces are in superb condition. At auction, due to the significance of these items in 20th century archaeological discoveries, they are estimated to be worth
$6,000 and $8,000 a piece.
A piece?
A piece on a retail venue.
Oh my heavens!
Exhibited on the show is a Star Cavalry carbine rifle, a fascinating example in the evolution of military firearms. Our guest inherited the weapon from her grandfather after he passed away.
He kept it under his bed. When he passed away, I asked for that just because that was kind of special to me.
The firearm was made in 1865 in New York by the Star Adams Company. It was produced for the Union Army under a contract during the later period of the Civil War. This rifle is a breech-loading carbine designed to be loaded from the breech rather than the muzzle. By lowering the lever, a cartridge can be placed into the breech mechanism. Surprisingly, about 5,000 of these rifles were made, but none were issued or used during the war.
Star got the order very late in the war, and they don't start delivering them until March of 1865. Well, of course, the war's over in April of 1865.
And they were eventually sold as surplus. All parts of this rifle are intact, and it remains in pristine, unused condition, which could significantly increase its value. Due to its rarity and historical significance to the American Civil War, we can expect this piece to be worth?
Between $2,500 and $3,500.
Presented before us is a captivating etching of great artistic merit. Our guest received this beautiful etching as a birthday present from his wife. This exquisite etching is a brilliant creation by the celebrated artist Marc Chagall. He was a Belarusian French artist and painter, most known for his work in the modernist movement of art. The Maternity Portfolio, released in 1925, features this exquisite work among others.
There are 5 etchings altogether in this illustrated book. Around 1,000 copies of the book were made. There's no mystery in what's going on here on the image. It's called the Visit Through the Window.
At the bottom of the illustration, Marc Chagall's distinctive pencil signature boldly stands out, a rare feature not typically found in this portfolio. This artwork masterfully captures the essence of its title, The Visit Through the Window, as a figure is seen gracefully leaping through the window pane. The artist's signature is the final flourish, transforming this incredible piece into a highly valuable and highly coveted work of art. Given its exceptional condition and authenticity, this remarkable piece would have an auction estimate of
$2,500 to $3,500 on it. So
okay.
The combo of this letter and signed photo is quite a special one. This is because it was signed by Gutzon Borglum, who was the sculptor of Mount Rushmore. In contrast to what many may think, this letter had nothing to do with Mount Rushmore. The letter was in fact written to address the reintroduction of bison into the Great Plains. What's interesting about this photograph is that it was taken when Mount Rushmore wasn't finished. But more interestingly, when you look at the photo, there's an unfinished sculpture beside Washington's sculpture, which is not present today.
Washington doesn't exist on the monument today. The story of Learn is that because as they got it partially carved like that, they discovered that there was such flaws in the rock on his face.
This signed photo and letter is truly remarkable because it is rare to see such items. At a suitable auction, these valuable signed items would be worth
$1,000 to $1,200.
Cool. Very cool.
This letter and manuscript combo provide insight into one of the world's greatest minds. The combo was written by the legendary writer Ernest Hemingway. The manuscript is special because it takes us through Hemingway's thought process. It's believed that the manuscript came from a draft of one of Hemingway's works in 1925.
He writes a sentence, then he has a second thought, crosses it out, writes a new version of that same sentence. So this is what we call in the field of manuscripts a working manuscript.
The letter, on the other hand, is sort of a critique of Ernest Hemingway. Hemingway was a cult hero among writers back in the day, so this manuscript is valuable. He also had a thing for slanting his handwriting, so this is a legitimate piece. This combo of Hemingway's letter and manuscript is truly remarkable, and because of this, they would auction at a price of
$7,500 to $8,000.
This extraordinary collection of Charles Schulz comics holds a significant place in both pop culture and personal history. Charles Schulz. A profound connection with Schulz is shared by the guest, who collaborated with the legendary cartoonist for over a decade at Hallmark. Hallmark Cards, Kansas City, Missouri. Featuring Peanuts characters on greetings cards was the guest's visionary idea, leading to an iconic product line that delighted millions.
He would come up with the ideas for the greeting cards. He would do the pencil sketches, send them back, and we'd come back with little fixes like make this a full figure or add bells here.
Included in the collection are original comic strips, intricate pencil drawings, and unique pieces of artwork by Schulz. Among the treasures is the rare Snoopy's Daily Dozen exercise booklet, showcasing Schulz's charming and timeless illustrations. Original sketches with the guest's penciled notes are also featured, testifying to his and Schulz's creative collaboration. Market freshness, vintage appeal, and the presence of beloved characters like Snoopy and Charlie Brown determine the collection's value.
historically very important, and a conservative estimate on that would be $4,000 to $6,000 as a group. When you come over here, it's only a game.
Reflecting their rarity and demand, each daily exercise panel is conservatively valued at
These at $4,000 to $6,000 each.
With its historical significance and pristine condition, this collection's total value could soar too
$150,000 to $200,000 on a piece-by-piece basis. Absolutely not. And if you're going to insure it, you'd probably want to insure it for a little bit more than the high estimate.
I was going to say, I had these on a shelf in my closet.
A watch was brought by the guest, which had been inherited by her husband. The item originally belonged to her husband's great-grandfather, a miner from England. The appraiser described the watch as a beautiful American pocket watch made by E. Howard and Company of Boston, likely around 1890. They were renowned in the American watch industry for crafting some of the finest timepieces. The particular watch was notable for its chain and the decoration on its case, both made of gold quartz. It was a box hinge hunting case watch with multicolored gold decoration and a diamond. The appraiser noted it as the highest grade of watch case available at the time. The remarkable piece was in pristine condition, exhibiting exquisite craftsmanship. Due to its exceptional quality and historical value, the recommended value was
$15,000 to $20,000.
The guest displayed a painting that he and his wife had purchased at an open house. The piece was identified as the work of Bessie Lowenhaupt, a renowned artist from St. Louis. The appraiser provided insights into the artist's early life and career.
Bessie Lowenhaupt was born in 1881 in Mount Vernon, Indiana. She studied at the Chicago Art Institute.
The painting, an oil on canvas dating circa 1960, it exemplified Lowenhaupt's distinctive style, blending abstraction with reality and employing planes of color to achieve harmony. Lowenhaupt often favored a dominant color in her compositions, which she termed the master of ceremonies. Despite her unique approach, she only held one commercial exhibit in 1968. The painting bore 2 titles inscribed on the back. Despite lacking the original frame, the guest was delighted with the high appraised value.
$4,000 and $6,000.
That's great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
The guest brought vintage suits to an appraisal show. Recounting her acquisition in the late 90s, she had purchased the suits from the estate of a deceased socialite in San Francisco. The appraiser identified significant differences between the 2 suits. The first suit, dating from the late 50s to early 60s, was a custom-made Chanel couture piece, entirely hand-finished. Our guest was surprised to learn it had been custom-fitted, noting it fit her perfectly. The suit included the matching blouse and lining. The second suit, from the late 60s, was a Chanel boutique piece, which was ready to wear. The appraiser remarked the old size 14 label, equivalent to a modern size 8. Given the condition, the estimated value was determined.
Retail value is probably about $1,800. This suit is probably $3,500 and $4,500.
The guest brought a silver cup to an appraisal show, mentioning she had acquired it at a flea market for just $1. Upon noting some marks on the bottom, the guest became curious about its origin. The appraiser then revealed that the cup is an American silver piece, crafted in Boston, Massachusetts, around 1710. The mark identified the maker as John Dixwell, a notable Boston silversmith. The appraiser clarified that American silver makers had ceased using such hallmarks by the 19th century. The item, being nearly 300 years old, exemplifies 18th century American silver craftsmanship. Given its excellent condition and rarity, the appraised auction value was
$2,000 to $3,000.
Oh my gosh.
A guest brought a small set of boxes that were inherited from her father-in-law and mother-in-law. The in-laws, who were passionate collectors, obtained these boxes from England. The appraiser identified the boxes as 18th century English pieces, crafted either in South Staffordshire or London. These boxes were traditionally exchanged as tokens and trinkets among loved ones. The appraiser explained their use as patch boxes, intended for storing beauty spots.
So a lady would keep her beauty spot in here. She would take one out on her little finger, and she'd place it in the prerequisite position, checking from the mirror inside the box it's in the right place, and then replace it.
The collection included boxes from Harwich, Leominster, and Lymington, with one box bearing a notable inscription. Additionally, the appraiser highlighted 2 charming 18th century French enamelled boxes. The collection had some cracks and chips, which impacted its overall worth. Despite this, the total value of the collection was
$3,000.